Hey y'all, Ad here Logistics, Dispatch Extraordinary Chris coming back at you with another one. This post is going to be a very exciting topic. What I'm going to be talking about today is safety tips for truck drivers. Quick disclaimers before I get started. Everything I talk about today is going to come from the FMCSA. And then I will have some examples just to elaborate on those regulations that's talked about inside the FMCSA. 2, I am not an attorney. I don't practice law. The only thing I do practice on a regular basis is reading and comprehension. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, to go to the FMCSA page, go to the .gov, hover over regulations, come to regulations and interpretations, go ahead and click on that. This is Title 49, CFR Parts 300 and 399. Click on that. You're going to scroll all the way down to Part 392, Driving of Commercial Motor Vehicles. You start out with the Driving of Commercial Motor Vehicles, a code of federal regulations. And who do these regulations and rules apply to? Let's see. Every motor carrier, its officers, agents, representatives, and employees responsible for the management, maintenance, operation, or driving of commercial motor vehicles, or the hiring, supervising, training, assigning, or dispatching of drivers shall be instructed in and comply with the rules in this part. Who do these rules apply to? Start myself first. I am a dispatch. It applies to me. It applies to folks that do training, supervising, hiring. Any person that has any parts of commercial motor vehicles, these rules apply to you. I'm not going to talk about everything inside of these regulations because a lot of these regulations I'll revisit for a later post. And some I will just touch base on briefly. And once again, I'll come back to at a later post. For example, applicable operating rules, regulations of the jurisdiction in which your truck will be operated, ill or fatigue, operated. Hopefully, if you're feeling ill, you're going to talk to your primary care physician, you're going to your local hospital or an urgent care that's nearby. Fatigue to operate over, just pulling over and getting some sleep. Drugs and other substances, don't do drugs. Alcohol, no drinking and driving. First place I like to start on is 392.6, schedules to conform with speed limits. No motor carrier shall schedule a run, nor permit nor require the operation of any commercial motor vehicle between points in such a period of time as would necessitate the commercial motor vehicle being operated at speeds greater than those prescribed by the jurisdictions in or through which the commercial motor vehicle is being operated. In a nutshell, don't be speeding. Now, what's some safety things that we can do to ensure we don't have to speed? First thing we do is we can plan our trip in advance. Now, planning your trip in advance, this is to entail congested traffic, inclement weather, and also restricted route. With congested traffic, typically, the routes that we're traveling on, we already know the times of day that these areas become more heavily traveled than others. So keep that in mind. Be prepared to slow down and or have an alternate route already in mind. With inclement weather, staying up to date with the weather forecast along your route is essential. In worst case scenario, pull over. Now, icy road conditions are the biggest threat to persons driving commercial motor vehicles. Again, worst case scenario, simply pull over. With restricted routes, this is to include low clearances and also weight limits. Keeping in mind, these are just a few things that you can be aware of and do just to make sure you have schedules to perform within speed limits. 392.7, equipment inspection and use. No commercial motor vehicle shall be driven unless the driver is satisfied that the following parts and accessories are in good working order, nor shall any driver fail to use or make use of such parts and accessories when and as needed. Service and brake system to include your trailer, truck brake connections, parking handbrakes, steering mechanisms, lighting devices and reflectors, tires, horns, windshield wipers, rearview mirrors, coupling devices, wheels, rims, and emergency equipment. Well, firstly, this goes inside with your pre and post trip inspections. Now, you can't see everything because a lot of things, if they're going to go faulty, you can't necessarily see it. However, according to the FMCSA, maintenance issues are the leading cause for tractor trailer accidents. A preventive maintenance schedule is essential for operating commercial motor vehicles safely. Drivers transporting intermodal equipment, this is delivery to your rail yards, and you do need your UIIA certifications. So if you need assistance with your UIIA certifications, you can definitely hit me up. I'll be able to walk you through the process and make more loads available to you. And along with that, there's a few more components that you need to be inspected when you're transporting intermodal equipment. One of the main things is making sure your load is secure. And how do you make sure your load is secure? This is the inspection of your straps and also with your chains. Make sure you check your chain grade and be aware and conscious of stress or whether it's straps. This is part of your equipment inspection and use. Again, I'm not going to talk about everything because the rest of these are going to be for a later post, later discussion topic. But for now, I'm going to scroll all the way down to subpart 8, limiting the use of electronic devices. 392.8, prohibition against texting. This is really about avoiding distractions. Because according to the FMCSA, the odds of being involved in a crash, near crash, or unintentional lane change are 23 times greater for truck drivers who are texting while driving. Put the phone down. Also, it's a fact that most motorists do not know how to drive around big rigs. According to a University of Michigan Transportation Institute study, 80 to 90% of accidents involving commercial motor vehicles are caused by cars as opposed to trucks. Your defensive driving needs to be on point. Please put the phone down. In conclusion, an overview of key safety points brought to you by the FMCSA via your dispatcher extraordinaire. Make sure your schedules conform with speed limits. Planning your trip in advance, taking into consideration congested traffic, inclement weather, and also restricted routes. During your pre- and post-trip inspections, again, you can't prevent all equipment failures, but you can definitely eyeball potential failures. With your hours of service, remember 14 hours of on-time duty in 24 hours, 11 hours of drive time in 24 hours, 8 hours of drive time before you require a 30-minute break, and 10 hours of sleep before you can reset your 14 hours. And all this is just so you can stay fresh and alert for your defensive driving. Equipment inspection and use. This can be assessed during the pre- and post-trip inspections, paying closer attention to your straps and your chains. Again, making sure your straps are not weathered, they're not frayed, and also your chains grade, and making sure you secure loads with those specifications. And finally, avoiding distractions. Put the phone down. Remember, most motorists do not know how to drive around it. Your defensive driving needs to be on point. I hope you found this reminder on truck safety helpful. I work with power onlys, dry vans, reefers, and flatbeds. If you're looking to have a much more in-depth conversation about safety, if you're looking for more information on your UIIA certifications and how to go about that, or you want more information on the services I offer, you can definitely visit my website, www.adherelogistics.com. Take a moment, fill out the required fields, or you could just simply hit me up down at the bottom, send me a message, and we can pretty much go from there. In conclusion, as the saying goes, it only takes a few seconds to be safe. In our situation, let's take a few extra minutes to be safer. Thanks. Talk to y'all later.